Shaolin Shuffle. This is going to be a guide on completing the main quest / Easter egg. A couple quick things before we get started. You do not need to have done Zombies in Spaceland or Raven the Redwoods to do this Easter egg first. However, I would highly recommend this not be your first Easter egg. This is one of the trickier ones to do, so I wouldn't recommend this being your first foray into Infinite Warfare Easter eggs, especially if you've never done Zombies Easter eggs in general. Also keep in mind I am a solo player first and foremost, so a lot of my guides and my experience will be through the eyes of a solo player. If steps change depending on the amount of people you have in your game, I will try my best to address that. Now, I don't like to talk about fate and fortune cards a lot in my walkthroughs because different things work for different people, and I don't like to recommend the fortune cards because you might not have them. That being said, if you're looking for recommendations, I brought Eagle-Eyed into my first clear of this map. You could also bring Stimulus. That's a really good one. That's easy healing. 5-second Muscle is always a solid. And if you have any fortune cards like Death's Party, which gives you insta-kills, or Get Head, which headshots instantly kill zombies, anything like that is also very useful for the boss fight, especially for this map. Those are just a couple recommendations though. With all that being said, let's go ahead and actually get into the map. First thing you're going to want to do obviously is turn on power, activate Pack-a-Punch. I have guides for both of those things in the description below. Get double Pack-a-Punch. I'd recommend getting that set up as well. It doesn't take too long. And you have the first 5 rounds to kind of set up. You can't really progress until you hit round 5. So go ahead, open doors, get whatever weapons you need, that sort of thing. Once you hit round 5, you can go ahead and talk to Pam Grier. Now the conversation is going to be a little different depending on which character you're playing, but it's always going to end the same way.
Return to me once you have tested your might with your enemy in combat. It is within their darkness that you will find the light to lead you to what you seek.
When you start this conversation with Pam and you're at round 5 or later, you will have the ability to pick up one of these gourds and start working on your Kung Fu abilities. Doesn't matter which path you take, you just need to make sure you take one of these, and you need to start doing the challenge to rank your chi up. The first challenge is always going to be getting 15 kills with your punching ability. So just start punching zombies, kicking them, doing kung fu stuff. When you beat this first challenge, you'll unlock the shurikens. Once you do that, go ahead and talk to Pam once more.
The one that terrorizes these streets can see what others cannot. To defeat him, you must possess that which will allow you to see the unseen. Take caution. You will not obtain this item easily. With great sight must first come a great light. Return to me when you've gained the vision you require for freedom. Namaste.
Once you start this second conversation with Pam, you're going to start seeing around the map there's these little cages, and they all have rats inside them. You're going to want to go up to any one of these cages. I like to do this one on the roof of the Heebie-Jeebies building. You want to take your shuriken, you want to throw it, and you want to hit the cage with your shuriken. And you'll free the rat, and the rat will start scurrying around. You want to follow this rat around the map. What this rat's going to do is it's going to go to another cage that's around the map. It's going to be random which one it goes to. It'll waddle around the map, go to a cage, and then it'll get locked inside the second cage. You'll hear a sound of it getting locked in. And at that point, you just want to hit that second cage with your shuriken, and then rinse and repeat. You're going to want to do this for like 6 cages. You want to make sure you keep track of where this rat goes because you don't want to hit the wrong cage. Otherwise, you'll have to start the step over. You'll be able to hear both the rat scurrying around and the distinct sound effect of it getting locked in another cage. Sometimes it will pass other cages on its route to a specific cage, so just make sure you pay attention to the sounds the rat makes, and where it goes. Now, eventually, you're going to hit one of the cages with your shuriken, and it's just going to disappear, and nearby there's going to be a glowing yellow circle. You basically want to get zombie kills while they're standing in the circle. You don't need to be in the circle. The zombies need to be in the circle. So you don't have to be close to them. You can shoot them. Just as long as they're inside, then you're golden. You just got to get set of like 10, 15 kills, then the circle's gonna disappear. Now, once this circle disappears, be ready because a group of ninja zombies are gonna spawn. These guys are fucking nasty. They'll teleport, they'll literally teleport around the map. They'll appear right in front of you and they'll kick you in the face, and they do lots of fucking damage. So do not play nice with these guys. Definitely take your time. Make sure you're not getting surrounded by them, and they can definitely flank you if you're not careful. Take care of this group of ninja zombies, and the last one is going to drop a key. Go ahead and pick up this key. This key is actually going to unlock one of the lockers down in the subway station. So if we're heading to the subway entrance outside of the Disco Inferno, it'll be right across from the stairs. It'll have these little writings on them. Go ahead and interact the locker to open it, and you'll see this weird scribble on the inside, and your character will give a little quote. Now, these scribbles are actually an in-game alphabet, and they spell out Soul Key. Once you've opened the locker, your next step is going to be finding 4 specific Chinese symbols, and you're going to want to shoot them in a specific order. From my research, the first 2 symbols correspond to the word soul, and the last 2 symbols correspond to the word key. But the first symbol you're going to want to shoot is outside of the BLACKCAT dojo. You want to look at this building outside the map, and you want to shoot this symbol on the left. You'll hear a little hollow gong sort of sound to let you know that you've done it right. Our second symbol is going to be on the bottom floor inside the Disco Inferno. You want to come up to this window barrier that is looking inside a bathroom. On the side of the bathroom stall, you're going to find 4 symbols scrawled out. You want to shoot the second symbol from the left. And from here, you'll want to head outside to the back of the map, sort of where you build the lava lamp. Go up to this lion statue, and you want to look above these little boxes on the wall here. You want to shoot the leftmost symbol and the center symbol. In that order. You'll hear another hollow gong sound, and then you'll hear like an actual like gong sound, like a more distinct gong sound. Once you hear that bigger gong sound, that step is done. Now, before we start the next step, you're gonna want to make sure to have a decent weapon on you. We're going to be fighting something kind of big. If you think you're ready, go outside the BLACKCAT dojo and look on the ground here, and you'll see this glowing rat symbol. Once you interact with it, the Rat King's going to show up. Now, this guy is a bullet sponge, and he can be very dangerous if you're not prepared. Definitely start wailing into him. He's got a lot of health. You don't want to get too close to him because he will summon a swarm of rats to basically do a bunch of damage to you. He can also teleport. His worst attack is when he raises his arms. He will summon a squad of ninja zombie goons to throw you off your track. You want to just shoot the shit out of him until he goes away. He'll sink into the ground, and he will leave behind his eye. Go over to the eye and pick it up. It will replace your tactical grenade, so if you have the zombie guns, unfortunately, you won't be able to use them for this step. Once you've defeated the Rat King and taken his eye, go back to Pam Grier and talk to her once again.
You must once again face your enemy and bring his demise closer to reality. It is the knowledge he possesses that you seek. Beware, young grasshopper. Your enemy will adapt. Expect the unexpected and embrace what you've learned to make your enemy succumb. Return to me when you gain the wisdom you require for freedom. Namaste.
When you have this eye equipped, you can press your tactical grenade button, and you'll basically do a little scan of the nearby area. This next step is going to involve you looking for symbols that are around the map, which can only be seen by using the Rat King's eye. These symbols will be orange Rat King symbols like the one from earlier. There are 13 possible locations where this symbol can spawn, and the symbol will be in one of these locations at a time. So you're going to want to check each of these locations, use your Rat King eye. If the symbol pops up, you're going to want to shoot it, and then you're going to want to check all these locations again for the symbol to pop up. And you're going to want to do this about 6 or 7 times. And don't worry, I'm going to be going over all of the locations in detail starting right now. So inside the BLACKCAT dojo, you want to activate your Rat King eye. You'll be able to see it right above this doorway. Another possible location can be in this wall barrier leading into this barber shop right outside the BLACKCAT dojo. One possible location is on the back of this speaker on the stage inside the Heebie-Jeebies Club. Another spot to check is on the roof of the Heebie-Jeebies Club inside this window barricade. It'll be on top of this picture frame. Another Rat King symbol spawn can be by the Ripper wall buy on the rooftops. Look past this water tower out to this building. Another place you want to look is past the lion statue. Look up to the clothesline. There can be a symbol on the back of one of these shirts. Inside the Disco Inferno, behind this window, is another spawn. You're going to have to jump because it's around the corner on the floor. In the alleyway between Disco Inferno and the sort of spawn area, look outside the map to this police car. There can be a symbol that appears on the side door. On the roof of the Disco Inferno, there can be a Rat King symbol on the roof of this water tower. On the same building, there can be a Rat King symbol on this vent looking inside the club. This is past one of those barricades that you have to use your chi ability to destroy. Outside the Disco Inferno by the Pink Cat Club, on this marquee outside the Disco Inferno can be a Rat King symbol. There can be a symbol in the subway where we flipped the last power switch. You want to look past this little pile of rubble. You're probably going to have to jump to see this one. The last place you'll want to check is right outside the spawn room. You'll want to look up past the bars on the wall in this little walkway here. Now, as you go around looking for these symbols and shooting them, you're going to start noticing down in the subway, these payphones are going to start turning red. You'll know the step's done because there will be one payphone left that's not red, and it'll actually be ringing. Now, before you answer the phone, I'd recommend having something to write down with or some kind of recording software if you're on a computer. Picking up the phone, you will hear a series of numbers in Morse code. It'll always be a series of 3 numbers, and then the call will just end. Keep in mind you're kind of locked in place unless the tone ends or if a zombie hits you. Zombies will not ignore you if you're in solo play, so keep that in mind. And you are able to go up to the phone and listen to it again. It'll be the same message, the same 3 numbers in Morse code every time. So on the screen, I'm going to have a list of all the numbers in Morse code. Remember, a long beep is a dash and a short beep is a dot. The numbers I ended up with in my run were 5, 9, and 6. Memorize these or write these down, whatever works for you. We're going to be looking for a Nightmare Summer poster. This you might have seen this poster in the Afterlife arcade. There's going to be 6 of these posters around the map, and on the bottom of the poster, you're going to see 3 numbers. We have to pick up the poster that matches the numbers you just heard in Morse code. And the locations for these posters are as follows. In the spawn room, right next to the train car on the wall here. There's one in the back of this alleyway, right next to the BLACKCAT dojo. There's a poster on the roof of Heebie-Jeebies, right next to the mystery wheel that can spawn here. In the alleyway past Mule Munchies outside of Heebie-Jeebies, right next to where you build the zombie gun. Down in the subway station is another location on the inside of this set of stairs. And on the roof of the Disco Inferno on this wall right to the left of Quickies is the last location for these posters. I should mention, if you grab the wrong poster, you'll hear Willard laughing. You'll have to do the whole Rat King eye step again, so make sure you have these numbers correct. If you grab the right poster, it'll be added to your inventory. What you want to do with this poster is you want to head up to the roof of the Disco Inferno. Head over to this searchlight here, and if you interact with it, you'll place the poster on the searchlight. You want to follow the beam of light over to this window and you'll see an X over it. We want an explosive to basically open up that window. So grenade or the pack-a-punch starting pistol, just as long as it is explosive, it should work. Now, a quick warning, when you do this, you're going to get a ton of ninjas that spawn on you, so be ready to deal with those. Once you've dealt with the ninja zombies, look over to the door that leads back down into the disco, and you should see a glowing letter on this wall here. This is what's known as the word step. Your basic goal here is the wall's trying to spell out a word, and your goal is to try and guess what that word is. There's going to be a series of 6 symbols that appear in set locations around the rooftop, and these aren't English letters, but they do correspond to actual letters. You're going to use this cipher that I'm going to put on screen right now. This was made by a brilliant person named RayPoopertonIII. So these are the letters you're going to see, and these are the translations to the English alphabet. You'll always start with one letter on this wall, and every time you shoot one of these symbols, these red symbols, another letter will be added to the board if it is the correct letter. If it's the wrong letter, you'll hear a buzzer, the puzzle will reset, and you'll get a different starting letter. Every time you shoot these red symbols and it's a correct letter, the symbols will also change around, and there's a set number of solutions for these words, but I'm not joking when I say there are literally over 100 words. So I'm going to leave a link to a Reddit thread where people have discussed their own solutions. I'm also going to copy paste everything on the list so far into my video in case it gets taken down for whatever reason. So you're going to look at the wall. So for example, I had a B on my wall. Then I would look at the word list, and I would say like, oh, okay, it could be breeder, it could be BLACKCAT, it could be brute, BUMPERCARS, and then I would go around the roof and I would take stock of what letters I have available to me. So for example, I ran into an R, so I decided to try a BR, and it ended up working. I'll use process of elimination to rule out the letters I shouldn't use. So going back to my example, if my starting letter is B, my second letter isn't going to be an X or an N. Unfortunately, a lot of this puzzle is going to involve some form of guesswork. And sometimes you'll get lucky, I figured out really quickly in this recording that my word was Broadway, so I ended up just running through and spelling it out real quick. Sometimes you might have a bit of trouble just because this is honestly kind of a tough puzzle, especially if you're doing it for your first time, so don't get discouraged. So keep checking the symbols every time you enter a letter, as they change every time you enter a letter on the board. Once you do have the word spelled out, you will hear a gong sound, and once you're done with the word puzzle, you're on to the second Rat King fight. You want to head to the roof with the Ripper wall by this water tower. The Rat King symbol will be on the floor here. Interact with it, and same deal as before. Just watch out for the Rat King's attacks. Watch out for when he summons ninjas at you. Just shoot him a bunch until he goes away and drops his brain. I would recommend picking up the brain and immediately talking to Pam Grier.
The enemy you faced possesses the final ingredient to the freedom you so greatly seek. It will take all that you've learned and a sharp mind to be prepared for that which you have not witnessed. Know that fear is a powerful ingredient, but with a heart emblazoned with courage, your enemies will cower at your very mention. Return to me when you've gained the courage you require for freedom. Namaste.
As soon as you talk to Pam, you'll notice in the corner next to your round count, you'll notice this circle that's flashing on your screen. And what this signifies is in 3 rounds, you're going to get basically a jump scare. These next 2 full rounds, next 3 rounds are a great time to amass points, get whatever perks or pack-a-punch guns you need, maybe work on your kung fu style a little bit. But once you pass 3 rounds, the game's going to quote-unquote break. You'll be sitting at this screen for a little bit. It's a jump scare that doesn't get me at all still to this day. That would be embarrassing. Every fucking time with this shit. As soon as you come back to the game, you'll notice you're a further 2 rounds ahead, and you're going to be locked in the area outside of the dojo, and there's going to be like just fire blocking a bunch of paths. So once this happens, you just want to take care of the zombies that are in front of you, and you'll see a little turnstile that's just floating in the middle of the room here. Go ahead and pick it up. We want to take this turnstile down to the spawn room. There's a spot to put it in here. You'll get an achievement for doing this if it's your first time, and you'll get this part of the Easter egg step done. Next, you want to go to the alleyway right by Mule Munchies. You want to climb up this ladder, walk over this wooden scaffolding, and you want to look inside this window, this open window. You'll see a Rat King symbol. You shoot the Rat King symbol, the shutters will close in this room, and you should notice below you a yellow ring that's starting to glow. This works exactly the same as last time. Just kill zombies when they're standing inside this yellow ring, and then the yellow ring is going to move to another location. There can be a spawn up by the Ripper Wallby on the rooftops. There can be one past the lion statue in this little garden area. There can be a location for this ring down in the spawn room. There can be a location in this little side room up in the Disco Inferno. And then the aforementioned location in the alleyway by Mule Munchies. This ring will move around 5 times, so just kill zombies in there, fill up the ring till it disappears and moves somewhere else. You'll know the step is done when you hear a gong sound. Once that step is done, you want to head to the Disco Inferno, go to the 2nd floor. You want to walk up to this booth with all the records on it and interact with it. This will spawn a zombie on the dance floor, just kind of getting down, boogieing, and they'll have a disco ball above their head. If you kill this zombie while another zombie is on the dance floor, the disco ball will be transferred to that zombie. You're basically playing hot potato to where you're shooting the zombie with the disco ball, it's transferred to another zombie, rinse and repeat. Now the disco ball is only going to be transferred if there's a zombie on the dance floor besides the one you're shooting. If they're too far away, or if it's the last zombie in the round, the step will reset and it'll just spawn another zombie in the dance floor. What I like to do is just run a train around inside the disco and just sort of take my time and just kill the zombie and transfer the disco ball whenever I can. I've also heard using the boombox is an easy way to get this step done. I had a bit of trouble, but that could just be because I'm not the best shot, so whatever works for you. I want to say it's about 20 times you want to get this disco ball passed around. Just keep killing disco zombies. Just make sure that there's a zombie on the dance floor for the ball to be transferred to. Just keep doing that until you hear a gong. And if you hear that gong, you're almost at the boss fight. Go to the Pink Cat Club right by Pack-a-Punch and look on the ground here on the street. You'll see a Rat King symbol. We're going to fight him for a 3rd time. Same rules as before, just shoot him, watch out for his attacks. You know the drill by now. When you kill the Rat King for the 3rd time, he will drop his heart. Go ahead and pick it up. It will replace whatever grenade you have in your hand, but it's really good. You use it, and any zombie you're looking at gets gnawed on by the rats. Talking to Pam is the final trigger for the boss fight to activate. So before you talk to her, I would advise making sure you get all your ducks in a row, make sure you have any F&F cards charged and weapons packed, perks obtained, that sort of thing. I would definitely recommend bringing some strong weapons in, like FHR, the VPR. The Pack-a-Punch starting pistols are also very good here. I actually brought a DMR into the fight on my first time because I want to take advantage of the eagle-eyed fate card. But you're going to want at least one super strong weapon. Double Pack-a-Punch definitely helps. Don't skip out on that for sure. Once you think you're ready, go ahead and speak to Pam Grier.
Your final lesson is at hand. Rise, young warrior. You must use all that you have learned, and together...
Man, a brother can always use some more bread. You feel me?
Let us return this darkness to the light.
And to start the boss fight, just go down into the Rat King's lair, and the boss fight will instantly begin. And it's the same deal as before. Just shoot the heck out of him. Watch out for when he summons ninjas and when he teleports around the arena. After shooting him a bit, he'll sink into the ground. And around the center of the arena, you'll see his brain, his eye, and his heart sort of floating there. These can all be interacted with, and each one will lead to a certain challenge. So the way this boss fight works is you'll get some damage on him, he'll disappear. You can choose any one of the 3 challenges. You do that challenge, and then once it's complete, you get another phase of shooting the Rat King and all that. A couple other things to mention. Pam will be assisting you in the boss fight. She'll mostly be off doing her own thing. She can teleport down and revive you if you're downed on solo, but don't expect her to do this all the time. Also, if you find these large boxes near the edges of the arena, punching them open with your chi ability will reveal perks inside that you can grab at any point. Up and Atoms on solo is a lifesaver. You can do these challenges in any order of the fight, but they have to all be done at least once. Now I'm going to be covering the challenges from hardest to easiest, with the hardest one being the heart. Grab the heart, the other 2 items will disappear, and the platform in the center will glow. You want to walk onto the platform and hold your interact button to start the challenge. Now out of the pipes on the outer ring of this arena, there's going to be this green acid that spews onto the floor. If you stand in this acid, it will start to damage you, but you need to clear these acid pools by basically killing zombies when they're standing in the acid. You do have to do this in a certain amount of time. If you're too slow, you'll hear Willard laugh, and every single pile of acid will come back, and you'll have to start from the beginning of the challenge. This is definitely the hardest part of the boss fight, in my opinion, because you're leading zombies, you're constantly having to walk on this acid, and it does start to hurt you after a while. So your insta-kill card, or whatever card you're bringing that gives you more power, like your 5-second reload, in my case I used the DMR and Eagle-Eyed for that instant kill. Your chi ability could be very useful here, but I never used it personally because I found it very risky to punch in the middle of a horde of zombies, because they're fast in this fight. And I find that using one of the aforementioned cards or weapons makes this a whole lot easier and a lot better to deal with. You'll know you've done the challenge successfully when you hear a gong. A max ammo should spawn in the middle of the ring, and the Rat King should come back for another round of fighting. For the next challenge, let's go over the eye. So you're going to grab the eye, the other artifacts will disappear, and there will be a glowing symbol in the middle of the arena. Go ahead and interact with that symbol on the floor to start the challenge. Now around the edge of the arena near the ceiling, there will be a bunch of symbols that can only be seen with the Rat King's eye. You're going to reveal those symbols, and your goal is to basically shoot all of them before the timer runs out. Now, if you take too long, the symbols will start to spread around, so make sure you're looking in places you've already looked before. Make sure they're not getting out of control. The Pack-a-Punch starting pistol works really well here because of just the explosive splash damage. You'll know you've completed the challenge when you hear a gong sound go off, and a max ammo should spawn in the middle of the room, and then you'll be back to fighting the Rat King. Finally, let's talk about the brain. Go ahead and pick up the brain, and all the other items will disappear. A symbol should appear in the middle of the arena. Go ahead, walk over to it, interact with it. As soon as that big symbol goes away, get away from the center of the arena. The brain's going to respawn right there at the center. You're going to start seeing zombies with blue eyes start to spawn. These zombies will ignore you entirely. They're going to try and run over to the brain and try to eat it. Your goal is to just let them eat the brain. Now the hitch in this is the Rat King's going to spawn in the center periodically, do some attacks, get rid of those zombies. Here's the thing about this though, eventually the zombies will eat the brain entirely. So my advice to you, my honest to God advice, is to just circle the arena, don't do anything, let the Rat King just do his thing and kill the blue-eyed zombies. They will get that brain demolished eventually. If you want, you can try and stun the Rat King with shurikens or by shooting him to make the step go faster, but seriously, there isn't any need to even do anything. You literally can beat the step by just circling the arena for like 4 minutes. You'll hear a gong sound once the challenge is complete, and then you'll be back to fighting the Rat King. Now between these challenges, when you're fighting the Rat King, he can spawn waves of ninjas like he usually does, so keep that in the back of your mind that they do show up in this fight and they're still as nasty as they've always been. But once you've done all 3 challenges, you're going to shoot into the Rat King one last time, do one last burst of damage, he'll sink into the ground, and you'll instantly be put into the cutscene. And with that, you will have beaten Shaolin Shuffle. Once the cutscene's over, go ahead and grab the piece of the soul key, and congratulations, you have completed Shaolin Shuffle. Now, if you want to keep playing in your game, you certainly can. You can actually grab the sword on the wall in the BLACKCAT dojo now and use it. Pack-a-punching it gives it like this laser cat projection. I can't even describe it. But yeah, beating the Easter egg allows you to use that sword as much as you like. You'll also unlock the ability to play as Pam Grier in this map. You'll want to enter this code at the main menu with Shaolin Shuffle selected. If you have gotten this far and beaten Shaolin Shuffle, congratulations. This is certainly one of the trickier Easter eggs in Infinite Warfare. As always, if my guide has helped, let me know in the comments below. If the guide sucked, comment why and what I can do better. But regardless, I hope you have a pleasant day. And as always, stay cool, stay safe, stay frosty.
My fate and fortunes burn bright tonight.